It's off to Leonard, defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger?
Trade with Phil. He had this is so stupid. I feel like an idiot now, like even saying this. He had a like zip up hoodie from like Arrow or American Eagle that I really liked. And I was like, "Hey, you want to just trade?" He was like, "Are you for real?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll give you my Kobe jersey if you give me that."
Yeah. Was it purple? Was it purple?
No, I think it was gold.
Gold. I mean, honestly, though, those Arrow zip-ups, those were money back in 2008.
I couldn't get enough in, like, 11th grade.
Yep. Dude, I'm so excited to hear about your game because I'm going to be honest, I have, like, a very similar experience on the rewatch because I didn't watch the Warriors game, like, live.
Okay.
And I was very interested in watching it live, and I never did, and I never rewatched it. So I've never.
So you've never seen it?
Never seen that game. So I'm very interested in you letting me know how that went.
So yeah, we're gonna be doing something a little different, maybe a little ambitious. We're covering the last night of the 2015-16 regular season. And I think it's fair to say that normally last night of the season, there may be like a couple things that are still left to get ironed out, like playoff seeding, maybe one or two postseason spots are still up for grabs. And this was the case in 2016 too. There was a 4-team logjam in the middle of the East that got figured out in the early slate of games. But then, in the late tip-off, we had two games that were so momentous for two totally different reasons that went head-to-head on ESPN and ESPN2. We had Kobe's final game as the Los Angeles Lakers, final game in an illustrious 20-year NBA career. And then we had the Golden State Warriors going for a 73rd win, potentially breaking the 1995-96 Chicago Bulls record. And I don't know about you, and maybe, you're a Kobe fan, so this conversation probably wasn't happening, but I remember working at a sports retail store at that time and talking with all the other employees, my friends there, about what game we were going to watch.
Yep.
And going into the night, I gotta admit, I thought I would spend most of my time, if not all of my time, watching the Warriors. It just felt so much bigger to me that a team could be breaking the single season wins record. But I gotta say, and I mention this in part because we covered Michael Jordan's last game earlier in Campfire. I was expecting more of what we saw from MJ in his final game from Kobe. And what we learned was that for all the similarities between Kobe and MJ, this is one area where they had drastically different approaches with how they were going to play their final game.
Absolutely.
Did you have any kind of that dialogue? I mean, I know you said that you wanted to be able to watch that Warriors game as they go for 73, chasing history, as ESPN called it.
Yep.
But what was that like for you? And just as a Kobe fan, what was it like going into that night?
Well, it was definitely a dialogue. I think the biggest conversation was like, what channel is what game going to be on? Like, who's going to get ESPN? Who's going to get ESPN2? Warriors actually got ESPN. Kobe ends up with ESPN2. I remember that being like the first like talking point. Like, are you serious right now? They're going to give Kobe the second? Like, they're going to give him ESPN Deuce? Like, really? So that was a conversation. Most of people that knew me knew who I was going to watch, but I do remember like arguing with friends like, how could you be watching the Warriors? This is Kobe's last game. But like you said, in the moment, I mean, stars come and go. That's what happens. You play your career, you play it out, you end your career. Not every year, not every 10 years, not every 15 years do we get to see a team that great like the Warriors. So I totally understand, stepping aside, taking my bias, why, the Warriors game was on ESPN. I understand why people would want to watch the Warriors game. And I think that had Kobe played like Jordan, most people would have just tuned in to the Warriors game. That was kind of I was anticipating that too. Like, I'm going to check in on Kobe, see how he's doing. If it's going really bad, like, I'll change and then come back at the end of the game. Because I did want to watch the Warriors. It was that important. But the game just took over and, things happened.
Did you, by any chance, look up how many people watched each game?
Yes, I did.
So for those watching or listening, the Warriors-Grizzlies averaged more viewers throughout the broadcast. They had 3.6 million viewers. Kobe's farewell averaged 3.5.
Yep.
But Warriors-Grizzlies peaked at 4.2 million. Kobe's game peaked at 5.4.
Yep.
Which I believe came in like the final half hour of the game, which makes sense. So like I said at the top, we're going to be trying to cover both of these games simultaneously, almost as if we're watching them in real time. I don't know. Do you?
Can we start with like the pregame or what?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because I'm honestly, I'm curious. I want to know, like, did they make a big deal out of the Warriors chasing 73? For Kobe's game, just comparing it off of the Jordan last game, it was like times 10. The production was amazing. There was so many different intros that you were able to see. It felt like every time you went to commercial, you came back to like a different monologue story with these amazing videos, these messages from former players, Kobe's message, and they really did a nice job of building the game up. And I was curious if it was the same way on the Warriors side.
So, I actually don't remember, and on the rewatch, they don't like. They start right at tip-off. Like, if you're trying to find this game on YouTube, it is, they're going right in to tip-off. And, like, Breen and Van Gundy and Mark Jackson are on the call. And just a side note, pretty cruel that they put Mark Jackson on this game. That's like if you, like, get invited to your high school girlfriend's wedding.
Yep.
It's like, hey, would you let's watch her walk down the aisle.
Yeah.
Mark, watch his team make history. Watch Steve Kerr do what you couldn't do.
Yep. Especially like when you're not, necessarily happy in where you want to be. Like, If Mark Jackson was like coaching elsewhere, maybe, bring him back or something. But yeah, that's rough. I didn't even think of that.
I had to take that note down because I was like, man, they did, for all the love they showed him when he was coaching the Warriors, they really did him dirty putting him on this game.
Yep.
No, I mean, they're talking about it, and it's kind of understood that this Grizzlies team that they're playing, they're like almost comically injured at this point. They have no Conley, they have no Gasol, they have no Tony Allen. They said on the broadcast that they had 8 guys on their active roster who were on 10-day contracts.
Oh wow.
So yeah, it was just like a skeleton crew that they had playing, and we'll get into it. But yeah, I mean they're addressing it, and there's some chatter about like greatest team ever kind of stuff. Honestly, more of it, at least early on, seemed to be centered around Steph.
Okay.
Even more so than the Warriors. And thinking back on that season, I had, until I rewatched this game, I had actually kind of forgotten about like what a sensation Steph became that year.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I was fortunate enough to see them play in person that season, and it's still one of the most incredible like individual performances I've seen. I saw him play in Miami. He had 42. Clay had 33. And he hit a go-ahead three-pointer over Hassan Whiteside with under a minute to go. And it was just like all the typical Steph shit. And what's funny is it was like a 3-game stretch where the next night he went to Orlando, and I want to say he scored like 49. And then 2 nights later was the Oklahoma City double bang game.
Oh, yeah.
So like this is the start of a 3-game run where he scores 40 every game. Like they were talking about how he needed to be unanimously voted the MVP, and it was very Steph centric.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that makes sense. He was the MVP that year,
and he won it unanimously.
Yep, everyone obviously knew that he was the guy. And like you said, it was just, you'd never really seen someone like that before, doing what he was doing. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Did they dive into, like, they need to win it all to be the best team, or where were they kind of on that best team? I'm interested on what they...
From what I caught, they didn't really bring that up much at all.
Okay.
I think it was more just like a in the moment, celebrating Steph, celebrating the fact that this record that even Steve Kerr had gone on record in like the years leading up to that, before he was a coach. He was on the Bill Simmons podcast, I think, in like 2013, and he said that there would never be a team that got to 72 wins again. So I think it felt more celebratory of that, and it honestly felt like a foregone conclusion that they were going to win. Like there was no like drama or suspense to this game. Like I even took down in my note that Dave Yeager, who was coaching the Grizzlies, they interviewed him after the first quarter, and he was like, "We just got to try to keep it close." And like he wasn't even talking about like, let's get back in the game and win this thing. Like it was just a like, here I'll find the exact quote here. Yeah, he said they want to get it over quick. It's our job to keep it close for as long as we can. And that was kind of the feeling throughout it, and that was the Warriors' whole season. It just, they get off to the 24-0 start, and it just feels inevitable from that point on. Obviously, we get to the postseason, and it doesn't, pan out that way. But just a quick trivia question. So they won 24 in a row to start the season. The previous record in all of professional sports by a team to start their season unbeaten was 20-0. Do you? And this doesn't have to be basketball. All sports. Do you know who held that record?
20-0. I feel like it's baseball.
It is.
Is it the? I feel like the easy answer is the Yankees. I'm not gonna say that. I'll go like. I'll go like the Braves or something like that in the 90s.
The 1884 St. Louis Maroons.
Oh no! I'm so mad I missed that one. I should have got that.
That was a gimme.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, so not only like NBA history, we're talking like all-time sports history. And like I said, there was an inevitability to them, and it kind of played out that way in the game. The Warriors start a little tight. They're 1 for 6 from the field in the opening 2 minutes. They're kind of playing with like a little too much energy and sense of urgency. But then Steph hits his first 3 of the game, and they like kind of ease into it. It's 14-14 with 7 minutes to go, but then it's just typical Warriors shit. Like,
Right.
Steph hits a 3, transition layup, transition 3, and all of a sudden it's an 8-0 run in 50 seconds, and oh god, we're down 12 now.
Yeah.
That was the story of the first quarter of this game. Steph was absolutely sensational. He
Who did they start at the 5 that year?
So I should have done that. Starting lineups for this game, it's Steph, Clay, Barnes, Draymond, and Bogut. And then for Memphis, it's Jordan Farmar, fresh off a stint playing in Israel.
Yeah.
Old Vince Carter, Matt Barnes, who I thought that was interesting, the symmetry of like the We Believe Warriors.
Yep.
And they had actually mentioned in the broadcast that he and some other members of the We Believe team had been saying throughout the year that their team would have beat this team.
Oh god, that's a bad take, Matt. Such a bad.
Breen was telling that story, and Van Gundy, like completely deadpan delivery, goes,
They need to calm down.
So, and then Zach Randolph and your man Chris Birdman Anderson.
Oh gosh.
They're starting for Memphis. But yeah, so tight early, but they get going. Steph hits his third 3 of the game from about like 6 or 7 feet behind the 3-point line. Breen notes at that point that he's now 5 threes away from 400 for the season, which nobody had ever hit 300 in a season before this year, just to put into perspective,
Right.
like what he was doing. And that starts a run then where he gets another transition 3 the very next possession. And then the next possession after that, he gets somebody named Xavier Munford. Never heard of him. Don't remember him. He hits him with a really like slithery behind the back and goes right up into, it's that left to right behind the back, and he gets right up into a shooting motion and hits it. At that point, the Warriors are up 27-16. Steph is up 17-16. And Mark Jackson, the great talent evaluator that he proved to be, giving Monte Ellis minutes early in Steph's career over Steph and running all these Jarrett Jack ISOs and high screen and rolls. He had this to say of Xavier Munford. Very impressed with his toughness. He was able to run this team offensively, has an edge to him. Certainly a guy who looks like he belongs in this league. Xavier Munford would go on to play 6 more games in the NBA.
Oh man, there were some good names in the Lakers game too that I didn't
let's transition. So because we're at the point now where the Warriors go up 11. They don't. The lead doesn't dip below 10 at any point the rest of the game. So what's going on in Los Angeles at this point?
Yeah, so the crowd is absolutely buzzing from the get-go. One of the intros, it felt like they played like 800 different intro videos, but one of the intros was when Kobe's a rookie and he's got the like the action board and he says, "Welcome to the Kobe Show." And it felt like that was the perfect message for what this game was going to be, what this night was going to be, specifically on ESPN2. It was the Kobe Show. Anytime, like I said, anytime there was a commercial break, you saw a Kobe video. Anytime that there was a dead ball, they were panning to his family. One of the things that I noted, Magic introduces him to start. Magic says that he is the best Laker in the history. And then Kobe, he had a quote that I really thought was pretty powerful. He said, "The most important thing about your career is how your game touches others and how it inspires others." And then in that same statement, he was talking about how he was at complete peace with retirement. And I just felt like that was very true for him and not for others. I just felt like he knew that he gave everything he could to the game and that he inspired this army of Mamba believers, and that there really was nothing left for him to do. So it did feel like he was at peace. They were showing videos actually in Staples of messages from players around the league, and he was watching it and he was smiling. So before the game, you didn't really see this like venomous snake like you were used to seeing. You really kind of felt like he was soaking it all in. And maybe that's
It was like
why,
more Vino than Mamba.
yes, exactly. And maybe that's why the game started the way it did. So going into the game, the plan was to play Kobe 36 minutes. And he had been averaging about 17 points coming into the game. So you weren't expecting you were going to see anything crazy. Obviously, there were some people that were like, "Oh, Kobe's going to go for 40 tonight," or he's going to go out scoring 50. But you didn't really think that was going to happen. And then you mentioned that another thing that I wanted to know is the Utah Jazz were eliminated about 20 minutes prior to tip. So this game was meaningless, other than the fact that it was Kobe's last game. So for the starters, we had the Lakers started D'Angelo Russell, Jordan Clarkson, Kobe Bryant, Julius Randle, and Roy Hibbert. Which, give me that lineup though in 2004 or 2006 instead of like the smush quant. Like Kobe will do some work with that lineup.
That is a decidedly better group than he had in the mid 2000s.
Yes.
Like
Not
without
great,
a doubt.
but yeah.
But man for man, like
yeah,
Roy Hibbert is better than Kwame Brown.
yep,
Jordan Clarkson or D'Angelo Russell, that beats the hell out of Smush Parker and Sasha Vujacic.
yeah.
Odom give Odom the edge over Julius Randle, but like
But not really, probably by too much. And I mean, at the time,
at
for
that
sure.
point,
right?
Yeah, at that time, but like what Randall would become, yeah,
Right.
like he becomes an all-star.
So I just thought it was interesting that they gave him a decent, like a better starting lineup his last year when he was, a zombie compared to when he was at his powers. But anyway, the Utah Jazz started Sheldon Mack, Rodney Hood, Gordon Hayward, Trey Lyles, and Jeff Withey. So we got some real good college basketball legends.
2 from Butler.
Yep, 2 from Butler. Got a Duke guy, got a Baylor guy, and Withey's Baylor.
Kansas.
Butler.
Withey's Kansas.
Yep.
Lyles, he was Kentucky, right?
Kentucky. Yep. But anyway, the game starts, and right away, every time Kobe gets the ball, the crowd goes crazy. So he misses his first two shots like really badly, like not even close. He looked stiff. It wasn't going great. But at this point, he wasn't able to blow by anybody. He had to just make his jumpers. And at the 8-minute mark, he was 0 for 4, and the Lakers hadn't scored yet. So the game was 6-0 at 4 minutes to play. So at this point, it's probably a much better watch to be watching the Warriors right now. But after Kobe misses his 5th straight shot, he is able to get a block. So he misses his 5th straight shot. It's like possession by possession. Misses his 5th straight, comes back on defense. He's able to get like a help side block with his left hand. Gets the ball, goes coast to coast, and like just starts plowing through people to get to the paint. Is able to get a floater to go. And then actually comes down the next possession and he snakes a ball screen and he hits a pull up. So you're like, oh boy, like he's starting to see a couple go.
Now we're on something.
But he just didn't look right. But he goes on to make his next 3 shots. So he's actually 5 for 10 at the time. He misses 5 in a row and then he hits 5 out of 6. One of them being a 3 in transition, and the crowd is just absolutely electric. He shot 11 times in 9 minutes, so you clearly know that he's not going out with any bullets in the chamber. So now it becomes like a must watch. It was an amazing game, and if you could hang on through the first 4 minutes, it was worthwhile.
It's the exact opposite of MJ's approach, where he just wants to make sure he gets his 36 holes of golf in the next day.
Yep.
And doesn't get hurt. Like I said, the Warriors, on the other hand, they get off to a kind of slow start too, but by the end of the first quarter, it was just all coming back to me like, I think I had forgotten how good this team was, which sounds kind of crazy because they win 73 games. They go to the NBA Finals. They play my favorite player and my favorite team in the NBA Finals for the second straight year, 2 of 4. Like, I know how good this team is, but then you watch it again. And it's the first time that I've rewatched a Warriors game from that era that wasn't Game 7 or Game 6 or Game 5 of that NBA Finals, where the Cavs, they've kind of figured some shit out and the Warriors aren't playing their best basketball. But to see them get on these runs where just like the gravity of Steph and Clay opens up so much and it feels like from anywhere within 35 feet, they're a threat. And numerous times in this first half, they are. But so that stuck out to me. And I really appreciated that. Like, even second quarter when their bench unit comes in. And it's like Sean Livingston hitting 130% of the shots from 10 feet out. And you got Barbosa. And even like Spates giving you
Mo Buckets, man. Yeah,
Mo Buckets. He's out there. And, Iguodala is practically the 6th starter. Yep. So, like, I don't even really consider him with that bench unit. But, like, they're so good and so deep. And they have such an on-court feel for one another. And it's not just, like, Draymond and Steph and Clay. Like, all these guys know how to play with each other so well. Like there was one play midway through the second quarter where they're running 2-man action with Steph and Draymond on the left wing. and it kind of gets blown up a little bit, which is weird. But on the far opposite corner, Bogut is setting a back screen on Clay's guy on like the baseline. And Bogut instantly recognizes that it's Matt Barnes, the defender. He's not nearly as attached to Clay as he should be. So, like, even before he sets the screen, he's like waving over to Steph and like kind of gesturing him. And Steph throws this like ridiculous lob pass across the whole court. Clay catches it, drains the three. And it's just like they had such a feel for how to play with each other. And the fact that it was only their second year, under Kerr, that is. It's their second year under Kerr. It tells you what a sensational job he did coaching that team from the get-go, because they really like had that even in their first title run. Like 2014-15, they had already found like a pretty solid rapport with each other on the court. And then 2015-16, it was just whole other level.
They like I felt like they totally bought into I could be just as dangerous without the ball as with the ball. So their like player movement was just like unbelievable and so hard to guard, especially with those two, and the way that you could like split action and you could slip screens and the ball was just always popping. Like there was no real need for anyone to pound the ball on that team for so long, because it was just constant motion, balls popping. It was beautiful to watch. Like that was a very beautiful team to watch.
Yeah, they're Spursy in that regard, where it's like extra pass, constant player movement. And, I give a lot of the credit to Kerr, because he comes in and they just look drastically different than they did when Mark Jackson was coaching that team. But also, like, it helps when you have two shooters who are as skilled as Steph and Clay are, who neither one of them are at their best when they are creating their own shot off the dribble.
Right.
They're like lethal and almost prefer to get into their shots coming off of a whole shitload of screens. And then you have a guy like Draymond who plays so unselfishly and can do so many unique things on both ends of the floor.
Yep.
You have Iguodala, who's unselfish enough to have been a starter his whole career, and then Kerr comes in and says, we want to bring you in off the bench. You have Bogut, who is one of the great screen setters and an underrated passing big man. They just figured all of that shit out. But, again, a lesser shooter than Steph, this doesn't work the way it does.
Nope.
And like I said at the top, like that's what ESPN, the broadcast, was really hitting on hard.
Right.
Like they showed a stat coming back from a timeout that kind of blew my mind. Steph shot 48% on threes from 30 feet and out that season, and the rest of the NBA shot 7%.
Oh gosh. The best example would be the double bang. Is just like he was pulling from just almost half court. You had to pick him up at half court. You did.
Yeah.
You had to.
But and then the thing, it doesn't matter. It didn't matter because he's such a good ball handler. There were a number of good screen setters on that team, and he didn't mind getting off the ball. And
he's a great screener.
He is a great screener. And we talked about this in the Knicks game that we did from 2013 when he's really like that's his first big NBA game. He is more dangerous without the ball than when he has the ball in his hands. And the Warriors' offense, strangely enough, is better when it's Iguodala or Draymond who's initiating the action than when it's just like high screen and roll. And they do a good job of like working that shit in because Draymond ends up being so lethal as like a 4-on-3 kind of role man. He could see the floor so well. But yeah, watching Steph at this stage, and we watched him a couple weeks ago, 3 years earlier. He's just a completely different player. His body, he's kind of grown into it a little bit. He has so much more confidence in his jumper, which sounds crazy to say after watching him have a 11 for 13 game against the Knicks. But like all those shots that we said, oh, he passed those up, he was taking them in this game.
Right.
There was no hesitation. It was, okay, if I'm 32 feet and in, anything is fair game.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just, I'm curious, at what point did Clay start to get the respect that I feel like he deserved? Were they giving him his flowers too? Because
yes.
Although I totally agree with you, Steph obviously was their engine and the reason why their offense worked. But I do think Clay was a very important part, and I think that the offense wouldn't have flowed as nicely as it did, and just with the amount of attention that he created off the ball, and so many layups that he got for his centers. Both of them. I was hoping that they didn't cheat Clay, because I think he deserves respect.
Not at all. They talked very highly of his defense, which at that time Clay is really one of the probably 6 or 7 best perimeter defenders in the league.
Yep.
He quick feet, smart, strong. Like he could kind of hang with really like 1 through 4 at this stage in his career. And they actually make the point that he hits 276 threes this season, which is the most by a player who's not named Stephen Curry in NBA history.
Right.
So Steph hits 402. No one's ever hit 300. And then Clay hits 276. So quick math here. That's 478 threes that... No, 678 threes.
Yeah.
See, I'm not very good with math. This is why I was a communication major. 678 threes those two were responsible for in the regular season. And Steph shoots 45%, Clay shoots 42%.
Right.
So
yeah, their efficiency was so crazy. Yeah. That's why you had to take away the three so much that you were just allowing the basket to be wide open for guys slipping or just guys getting to the basket. Like there was you really had to emphasize like we can't give these guys open looks. Like the slightest opening, and one they're gonna the ball. Whoever has the ball will find them. I feel like at this point, Curry has done just an amazing job of getting his players to buy into their roles. Like I've never seen a team love to just set screens for guys, or like you pass it to me, I'm gonna pass it right back and set a screen for you, or just so much of that. Let's get Clay and Steph off, and then we'll get ours. And that must have been just Kerr at his finest, because they were at their peak.
You know what it actually reminded me of? Last week we did the Spurs 2014 title and their game against Oklahoma City. And you made the point about how because Duncan did all of the fundamentals right, and because Popovich could coach him hard, nobody else has an excuse.
Right.
And the same thing with Steph. And I think that the Steph comparison to Tim Duncan, although they're two drastically different players, I think that their like leadership style and their approach to creating a culture is very similar, because like you said, Steph is a great screen setter. He didn't mind getting off the ball. If he has an open look, but Clay has an even more open look,
right,
that ball's getting swung one time to Clay every time.
Yep.
And
Yep.
you're the greatest shooter on earth. You don't need to do that. But he did. He always made the right play. Sometimes the right play was shooting a fucking 35-foot jumper. And as we learned, 48% of the time that went in 2015-16. So,
And shout out to I give Draymond his credit too, because I think
yes.
that a lot of
Yeah.
the culture does come from him too. Because yeah, he was willing to. I'll guard the other team's best player, and I won't look for my offense at all. I'll be a screener. I'll be a point forward who gets lobs and like you said, plays 4-on-3. And also, like, if anyone doesn't play this way, I don't mind telling them.
He's going to chew their ass.
So, yeah. So give
So-
Draymond some credit.
Yeah, Draymond, I mean, I I can't speak highly enough about Draymond.
Yeah.
He gets a bad rap, but he makes second team All NBA. He's first team All Defense. He finishes 7th in MVP voting with the
wow.
unanimous MVP on his team. So like Draymond deserves all the credit in the world. He a top 5 defender, I think, of this century that we're covering, and the perfect kind of teammate to play alongside Steph and Clay. So I'll be honest, and I didn't tell you I was going to do this. I did the same thing with this game as I did in 2016. I watched the first half of this game and then switched over to Kobe. I know we had this plan, but I got to the end of the second quarter, and
That's
the Warriors
amazing.
are up 20. The Warriors are up 20, and I know that Steph and Clay and Draymond, none of them play in the fourth quarter, and I just had to watch Kobe again. So I
Yep.
did the same exact thing that I did 10 years ago.
That's amazing.
So yeah, we could pick it up. You haven't covered the second quarter of that game. We could start third quarter, however you want to do it. I'm ready to roll.
So I'll just kind of get you up to speed here. So, like I said, he misses his first 5, then he hits his next 5, goes to the free throw line for a couple, ends the first quarter with 15 points on 14 shots. Jazz are up 21-19, and then this is his break. So before the game, they talked about how he was going to play the entire first quarter, get 6 minutes off in the second quarter, finish the second quarter, play the entire third quarter, and then play the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. So in the second quarter, he goes out, gets his break. They interview Jack. He talks about the importance of Kobe playing in LA for 20 years. He does some rambling on, and then they kind of get back to the game where Kobe enters with 6:14 left. Jazz are up 33-29. He comes in and immediately takes a contested corner 3. Like, immediately. Like, doesn't get even a jog up and down the floor. They have the ball when he checks in, comes in, gets the ball in the corner, jacks it. And it kind of was funny to me because in my head I'm like, he's never been like one to be upset about missing a shot. Like, tonight's gonna be no different. Like, that's just something that he never did. He never really cared about the criticism of taking and missing a shot. So it certainly wasn't coming tonight. But he gets to a timeout, and in that timeout they show him and Shaq share a moment together, and I thought that was pretty cool. And then as they come back from that timeout, he immediately rips baseline and gets back on the board, and then gets fouled a couple more times. Ends up the half with 22 on 20 shot attempts, goes to the free throw line, hits a good amount of his free throws, but overall, like, not shooting a great percentage, but also is working so hard to get his shots up that you know that you might be in for something special in the second half. So
Did it feel that way at halftime?
yes, to me it
Okay.
did. To me it did because it's like, all right, this guy he shot 20 times. He's not just gonna go out quiet. Like he's gonna do
Yeah.
it the Kobe way. I gotta watch this. That's how I felt.
Okay, so we go into the third quarter. Jazz are up 57-42. Mike Tirico and Hubie Brown on the call. Very happy to have some Hubie Brown in my life.
Dude, he's the best. As a side note, I really, really, really think that he might be my favorite commentator to listen to. His voice is like an angel, and he's so smart. Yeah.
You learn so much
Yep.
watching a game with Hubie Brown on the call.
Yep.
I also learned that he had a dream that Kobe scored 50 in this game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So evidently, Hubie in his old age is clairvoyant,
And he
which is pretty cool.
told Byron Scott in like the pregame interview that he had this
Yeah.
dream. Like it wasn't like it was something that just all of a sudden happened in the second quarter or third quarter after he took 30 shots.
I don't doubt Hubie one bit. You've been around the game of basketball for that long, and you start having visions in your sleep. I'm just going to assume
Yep.
it's going to happen. So yeah, we start the second quarter. Nice little Kobe spurt to start things off. You said earlier that he couldn't really blow by anybody anymore. Rodney Hood would disagree.
Oh, he
Because
crosses
he
him.
blows by
bad.
Rodney Hood. Finishes with a lefty layup. Gets a tough mid-ranger the next possession.
Yep.
And then after that, he attacks the basket. And 5 years earlier, it would have been a dunk. But he barely gets it up over the rim with two hands and lays it in. He's up to 28. Jazz lead is cut to 9. And all of a sudden, it starts to feel a little interesting. I mean, my perspective coming into this game, and obviously I know what's to come.
Right.
But, 7 for 20 shooting in the first half. Obviously, he's going to get his shots up. But he's not necessarily accustomed to this kind of workload.
Not now.
At this stage, he's not playing big minutes. He has a few games here and there where he's getting shot attempts up into the, mid to high 20s during this retirement run. But he's still 38 years old.
Yeah.
Lord knows how many minutes on his odometer at this point. An Achilles tear. Like, you kind of figure at some point he's going to tire out. Like, you don't think that, at least I didn't, and I remember this from in the moment. Going into the third quarter when I picked up watching it, I didn't think like, okay, his best stretch is going to come in the fourth quarter. When he's already almost 40 minutes
Yeah.
into the game. Like, it just defies kind of logic.
Yeah, so I mean, like going into the game, I mean, he had played the game before he played 18 minutes. And then 27, 22, 27, 22. He played 30 minutes against Boston. And he did end up actually had 34 against Boston. But no, like his minutes, his shot attempts, he did shoot 28 times against Boston. But other than that, he really wasn't in the high teens even. So yeah, it felt weird because he would go in these spurts where like he'd get really hot, and you mentioned it to start the second half. He did. He hit 2 shots in a row. He actually, I think he airballed the 3, but it got tipped out, and then he had that dunk. So he was hitting these like flurries of hot streaks, but it appeared like he was on E. Like even in the third quarter, like it looked like he had nothing left. Like his threes were very short in like a line drive attempt. He was getting no lift on his jumper. It was a tough go.
Yeah, it's funny, like, Hubie even noted that in the broadcast, that he's scoring in spurts, and he notes it on, like, a downswing. Because he gets those 3 buckets in a row.
Yep.
But then he misses 4 shots in a row. and I think he has 2 air balls from
Yep.
3 in that stretch.
Yep.
And it's like you get that one good spurt, and then you see that, and it's like, okay, well, it was fun. He's gonna get to 30. He'll get his curtain call at the end. They'll sub him out. He'll get the standing ovation, and you kind of expect that that's what it's gonna be. But then like he just keeps going,
Yep.
and it's one spurt after another after another.
It's like he's just mentally willing his way through it. Like, and that's why I think this game is such a great example of his career, because I felt like it was defined by grit, by mental toughness, and by like, I'm gonna do it because I want to and because I said I'm gonna do it. You can't stop me. And I'll take all the shots I need to, and I don't care what you say, I'm gonna get there. And that's like what he did in this game. That's what he did throughout his career. And there were certainly low points in his career. There were points where you didn't think that things were going to go well, but then, there'd be these moments of like, wow, look at this guy. It's amazing. It just really showed you what you can. This is corny, but it like showed you what you could do when you really just put your mind to something. It was incredible.
Well, that's why to me, this is Kobe's greatest game.
Yeah.
At the very least, it's my favorite Kobe game. And I think it is the game where if you want to understand Kobe Bryant
Yep.
as a player, you show somebody this game.
Yep.
Because obviously there is a degree of skill still at this point. And at his peak, he is just a machine. And he's remarkably skilled. And you still see that. I mean, you can't score 60 points in an NBA game without being
Right.
just outrageously talented. But this was a willpower
Yes.
game.
Yes.
Kobe didn't need to do this.
No.
There were no stakes. The Lakers were a 17-win team. Kobe had 5 championships, 3rd leading scorer all time, MVP, one of the 10, 5, whatever number you want to put on it, greatest players ever. But he loved the game of basketball so much and loved competing so much and loved just pushing himself to the absolute limit so much. This game to me was more impressive than his 81-point game.
Yeah.
Scoring 60 at this stage of his career is more impressive than scoring 81 when he's at his absolute apex.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think, like you said, it's just, if you're going to kind of tell the story of Kobe Bryant to someone who's never watched him play, like, show him this game.
Yeah.
That's what the Mamba mentality really is about. Like, it really, that's what I think he was going for, is, to just consistently try to be better and, like, no excuses. And, it's amazing. And, he does shoot a couple air balls in the third quarter, but then with 4 minutes left, he squares somebody up and hits a 3 from the right wing to give him 35. And that's when Hubie starts talking about having dreams of Kobe getting 50, because he gets a lefty lay, 2 for 37. And then that brings us to the fourth quarter where the Jazz are up 75-66. And if you remember, I mentioned that he was supposed to play 36 minutes, the entire first and third, the second half of the second, and then the final 6 of the fourth. And to go into the fourth quarter, he tells Byron Scott, like, hey, I'm good, just let me go. And that's, I just remember, like, watching it and getting, like, goosebumps of, like, this is it, and he's going to give us all he has. Like, that's so cool as a fan. Like, you just want your players, honestly, you just want your favorite players, your favorite athletes to just leave it out there so you could see, like, how great they are. And for him to do it one last game, like you said, he didn't need to do any of that.
No.
But for him to go out. You knew he was gassed. I mean, he was shooting air balls. Like, he needed a break. Like, but he was just...
You could see it. I mean, not only just the air balls, just watching him, and credit to him, because like I felt like he was really competing at the defensive end, like way more than he needed to.
Yep.
Because he could have gone out there and shot 50 times and not done jack shit defensively. But I felt like he was actually moving and competing and like trying to get his hand in there for like loose balls, and like I was incredibly impressed with the whole experience. It reminded me a little bit of my favorite fictional athlete, Rocky Balboa.
Yeah.
In the movie Rocky Balboa, when he comes out for that one fight after he's been retired for years, and he fights Mason Dixon. And, like, you just see that he's getting by on, like, guile and mental toughness, and he's just, like, okay, he might fucking slip and fall when he throws a punch, but he's going to get back up, and he's going to keep punching, and he's going to keep moving forward. And that was this whole game for Kobe. The only difference is Rocky doesn't win the fight against Mason Dixon. And you know, going into the fourth quarter, the Lakers are down by 9. I don't think in that moment, as I had already flipped over the game, I was thinking like, oh, the Lakers are going to win this thing.
No.
You know, you don't know how many more shots Kobe's going to get up, but I didn't expect that it would necessarily translate to winning.
No, and I don't think the crowd even cared, honestly. Like,
No.
The Jazz get up 14. The whole game at this point is like, how many points is he going to score? He's got 37. Mm-hmm. Like, is he going to actually get 50? Like, is there any way that this guy ends his career scoring 50? If it's going to be anyone, it's going to be Kobe. But no, like, the crowd is totally locked in on Kobe's performance, not the win and the loss. But, you know, he finally hits a 3, which he did not. He actually shot a decent percentage from 2. Not so much from 3, and I could probably get those numbers here. But he finally hits a 3 with 9:30 left to get 40, and it cuts the Jazz lead to 9. And then the Kobe chants start. And then on the next possession, he hits another 3. And that's where, as I was watching the rewatch with Bianca, and she told me that she had never watched a Kobe game before, and she looked over at me and she goes,
no shit.
"Ooh, I got chills." And I was like, "Yes, you do."
Awesome.
Yes, you do. So, yeah, after he hit that second 3, the crowd it's live, and it's live for the entire game. And it, you know, you get so many different like shots of celebrities and former players, and like they respect him and they want this for him so badly, and it's truly just, I think, example of how respected he was, and why he was respected was because he just gave everything he could to this. And anyone who has done that, whether it's music or film, like, they admire that. So
I mean, he had fucking Kanye in the crowd,
Yeah.
grinning from ear to ear. You never see Kanye smile. Kanye was giddy.
Yep. He had Snoop on the selfie.
That was probably the biggest surprise of the game.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing a smile on Kanye's face.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, they were constantly going to the crowd. Jay-Z's there, David Beckham's there, Snoop Dogg, Jack, Shaq. They're cutting to Vanessa and the girls frequently. Like, yeah, it was, you know, he gets to 43. What does that cut the lead to?
So
5, right? I think he.
So he hits a 3. He hits that second 3, and then the young Lakers, I called them, they go on like a little run to get him within 5 with 7:19 left. Jordan Clarkson has like a 360 dunk, and then there's a lob to Nance. And
I took in my notes, Tariq Black
yeah,
absolutely erases a Rodney Hood dunk.
Yep.
Like an all-time block.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, he meets him right at the summit, and it doesn't go well
Yep.
for Rodney. But yeah, after the Nance lob, it's a 5-point game with 7:19. And then Kobe hits a pull-up with 5:30 left to get to 45. And you just, it's like you can't really believe what you're watching. You don't. It feels like a movie. Like this isn't how it goes. He's too old. Like I'm watching him right now. There's no.
It's Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, it is. It's Rocky Balboa. It's a movie. And like Rocky Balboa, like there's that little bit of like hope. But then the Jazz go back up 9 with 3:45 left. And the Lakers call a timeout. And Kobe looks dead. Like he's struggling to walk. Like he looks like me after I just like go run a mile outside my house. Like I'm just hunched over, I'm exhausted. Yeah, no, it doesn't look good for the comeback.
Dude, I swear to God, in my notes, I have Kobe misses a layup. The Jazz go up 9 with 3:45 left. Feels like it might be over. Kobe's played every minute of the second half. He looks gassed, like I do after I shovel my driveway.
That's great. That's great.
He walks off the court when they go down 9, and I was like, God damn, I've been there,
Yep.
man.
Just exhausted.
When I was shoveling the other day, I get it.
Yep. Like, yes, you are afraid to take a step because you don't know if that's going to be it. But you know what? I don't know if you caught this, but when they came back onto the court, Jazz are up 9. There's 3:45 left. Kobe's smirking. And I was like, what the heck? But then you could hear Vanessa. She's talking to him, and she says, you only need 5 for 50. And he kind of smirks and it's just funny because, like, the next possession he scores. And it just felt like that was the little bit of juice that he needed. Just looking over at his girls and seeing that. And it was like any little bit of motivation he could muster up, he was using it.
I had the exact same note, and it was that, and it was the Lakers fans fire up the Kobe chants again.
Yep.
And it was like they were all trying to will him to one like more spectacular finish, and it fucking worked.
Yeah, it did.
And that's the crazy thing. That's what makes it a movie, is it worked. He spins baseline and gets the right-handed layup that gets him to 47. He gets 2 free throws that gets him to 49. He gets to the rim and finishes high off the glass to get to 51. And that's what cuts it to 6 with under 2 minutes to go. And it's like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
He got 50.
Yep.
And now they're within striking distance.
Yep.
Like, they could actually pull it off. Wild, too, that it's his first 50-point game since his MSG game in 2009. So 7 years have gone by since he last scored 50 in a game.
And when he gets to 50, it's as if he hits a game winner. Like, that is how it's celebrated. Like, oh my God, he got to 50. Like, this is what we came for. At that point, it was, you did good enough. You gave us the best performance we could have ever asked for. But then, like, he not only tops it getting 60, but what he did as the game unfolds, it's just like I keep saying it felt like a directed script. But anyway, comes out after trailing, or the Lakers trail by 6. Staples again, more Kobe chants. When he gets to 53 on the splitting of the ball screen, that is when I was like, oh my gosh, that looks like old Kobe. They're gonna win. Like, that was the one
it
shot.
Look like old Kobe.
It was the one shot the entire game where I was like, whoa, that's 8. Like, that was wild.
It was like he had his legs again.
Yeah. So he gets to 53 there, and then he hits a 3. And it's Staples is going absolutely crazy, and it's just like it's.
You know who else is going crazy at that point? Hubie Brown.
Yes, he is.
He's just yelling, oh, over and over.
Yep.
Kobe's got the Lakers' last touch. Bryant for 3. Good!
He
Yep.
doesn't know what else to say.
Yep. And in the beginning, he talks about. I told you that he had talked about how he was at peace, and he said, because I gave every last bit of myself to this game, and it's like, damn it, you did. Like, you were scraping around the corners or the sides of the container to get the rest of it out in this game. Just one last like Superman performance, scoring performance that really I've only really seen like out of him. Like, LeBron's obviously had a ton of great games, scoring games, but like those flurries of like, whoa, like those are really only like Kobe type games. Steph, you get a little bit of that too, where it's just like the 20 points like quick.
Just a barrage of shot making.
Yes.
Yeah. No, and then like the one that he hits with 31 seconds left to put him up one.
Yep.
It gets to 58. Like, that was maybe the toughest shot that he had the whole second half. It's a contested long two.
Yeah.
When he has 41 minutes.
And
Like,
50
already
shots?
played. And 50 shots. Like, if I went out in my driveway and I put up 50 jumpers right now, like, you'd feel it.
Yeah.
You would feel like that's all it takes to like get a little bit of like,
Yeah.
you know, feel in your legs. Like, okay, I'm working. I don't know how.
You knew that was going in though. Like I feel
Oh
like
yeah, no,
it's like I said, as soon as he split for 53, it just was like they're gonna win, and they had the opportunity up or down one, and they set a ball screen for him going left, and then he reuses it to get back right because he loves going right. We talked about that before. Gets to his spot and hits the pull up, and as soon as he shot it, it was like there's no way that's not gonna go in. And then he makes it, and just like you said, Kanye is just grilling, like just so happy. I've never seen Kanye so happy.
No.
And it's just, yeah, the Lakers get a stop. Kobe goes to the line for 60, hits them both, and then they get another stop, and he kind of puts the exclamation mark as he hits a touchdown pass for Jordan Clarkson for the dunk.
Funny to me that the last play of his basketball career is an assist.
Right? That's crazy. And you know, so I'm obviously a Kobe fan, and he didn't play great this game. He gave us a great performance, but maybe he didn't play great. But when people are like, oh, well, anyone could have done that because he went out and shot 50 times, like, one, shooting 50 times in an NBA game is a feat in itself. Just getting that many shots up. And two, he did shoot 44%. Like, it's not like he shot 30% from the field. Like, he was
7 for 20 at halftime. He ended the game 22 for 50. He shot 15 for 30 in the second half. He shot 50%.
Right.
Like,
yeah. But ends it with a big hug from Shaq. And I just thought that was cool, too, the way we started our podcast covering them early on. And for it to kind of come full circle where it's like we got to cover all of Kobe's career almost. You know, just 4 years where he really wasn't even playing. But end of the game, all his Lakers teammates are there. There's so many celebrities. There's so much respect for him. And I have this note too. It's in his final message. He talks about how he can't believe how fast 20 years is gone. But the most important part is that we, talking about LA and him, both stayed together throughout, and that he was more proud of the down years than he was the championships because they didn't run. We did it the right way. And then obviously he says in the interview with Lisa Salters, I believe, I'm so comfortable walking away from it. There's no stone left unturned. I left my heart and soul out there. And that was the best end of, like, there's no other way to go. Obviously, you win a championship. Like, I was thinking, I've watched Derek Jeter go out. That was really amazing. And I thought at the point, like, I'll never see that. And just a year later, Kobe, I think he tops it. I don't know of another end of career performance like that.
So I have two questions left that I want to ask you. We're bumping up close on time, but first, so it's not, well, I guess it is a record. So I was going to ask you, what do you think is a more unbreakable record? 73 wins in a season, or a player scoring 60 points in their final game?
I don't think a player is going to score 60 in his final game. I
agree with you.
I know that.
So here's my line of thinking. A month and a half ago, we were talking about how the Oklahoma City Thunder could conceivably break this record.
Yep.
They're not going to. They've already lost, I think, 11, 12 games.
Yep.
I think that there is a world where that could happen again. The previous record by a player in his last NBA game, I don't know if you caught this during the broadcast, was Jordan Crawford, who scored 41 points. So Kobe broke the previous record by 19 points, where the Warriors broke the Bulls record by 1 win.
Right.
I don't see anybody having a performance like this. Not only because of how difficult it is to score 60 points in a game from like a physical standpoint, but you have to be wired mentally in a way where, because like you said, it's difficult to get 50 shots up in an NBA game. It might be even more difficult to do that mentally.
Yeah, and like especially
to have like
because he wasn't hot,
right?
Like he struggled. Like it was grit. You said it. It was grit. Like, yeah, when you hit 8 shots in a row, sure, you could get him off. You could take some crazy ones, but like he was working for these shots and they weren't going in. He just nope. I'm just gonna stay consistent. And like you said, obviously, like with OKC, that's what went into my head is I don't know of anyone sick enough to want to do that in their last game. Like in fairness to Jordan, like I want to not hurt myself the last game I ever play. Like they were playing for nothing. Like he very well could have popped his Achilles. Like that's how you get hurt, honestly. Like with the injuries, his body was done, is cooked, he was tired. How did he hurt his Achilles in the first place? I think he was overworked. When your body gets overworked, you can get hurt, especially when you're old. So like, do you want to put yourself through that? So I don't think anyone's sick enough to do that. And then I do think that with OKC this year, it showed me like there's gonna be a team that rivals that. It could be OKC, but I'll probably say that maybe someone gets the wins record. I just don't see it happening for points though. What's your thought process on it?
No, I'm with you. I'm trying, like, I don't know if LeBron would go for it.
That's interesting.
I don't think he would. To me, like, Steph, maybe just because of how many threes he could hit in a game.
Right.
Because conceivably, even Steph at an advanced age, like if we put on League Pass tomorrow night and he hit 15 threes, it would be wild because that'd be an NBA record, but it would also be like, yeah, that was Steph.
Right.
Like,
yeah. And his last game,
like,
he might shoot 35 threes like that.
Right. And, if he shoots 35 threes and hits 15 of them, then he just needs 15 more points.
Right.
So, like, conceivably, but even then, like I just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
I really don't. Okay, last question I have for you. Did you cry during this game the first time you watched
I was gonna
it?
say the first or the like both. I gotta be honest. I cried both. It was weird.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I cried. It wasn't like cry. I shouldn't say cry. I teared up watching it the first time. When he hit the go ahead shot, because it felt like to me that it was the ending of my childhood in a way. Like, I got to root for this guy my whole childhood. He gave me so much joy, and I felt like a little kid. And I was 23, 24, and he made me feel like I was 11 or 12 years old again. Like, the way I was watching it, it was probably the last time that I've felt that type of, like, childhood fandom. I haven't gotten it with Duke yet since. So
hold on, just so I'm not misunderstanding. Is this specific to the NBA, or do you still feel that for Duke?
No. Like, I haven't felt like a little kid watching Duke in some time.
Okay.
I still really enjoy Duke, and they're still my
Sure.
favorite team. But like that little kid, like, belly is full of butterflies. Like, you can't control your excitement. Like, I was literally tearing up watching it, just because like that. Yeah, I'll probably never experience something like that again, where I like someone that much as a fan. So I did tear up the first time, and then I can't lie, at the end, like the first person he goes up to after is Gigi, and they do a handshake, and that got me. That got me on the rewatch.
I'll be completely as we've covered. I didn't grow up a Kobe fan. I obviously have an immense amount of respect and appreciation for him that accrued over time. That exact moment made me tear up as I watched it this morning.
Yep.
I don't see how you couldn't. Like, what was supposed to be ahead for him.
Yep.
And you also, just as someone who appreciates the game of basketball the way that you and I do, to watch someone go out and give everything that they have the final time that they step on a court, like, that's bound to hit you in your feelings.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm not one bit surprised that it brought out the waterworks the first time and this time. Like, I totally get it. And next week we're going to be covering the last sporting event that made me cry.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Absolutely.
awfully fitting, man. The 2016 season did a number on us, man.
Just a couple Italians, huh? Yeah, but I tell you what, man. My wife, I told you, she watched the rewatch, and she looked at me, and she was like, "Oh, you're crying?" And I was like, "Should I lie right now?" And I didn't. I was like, "You know what? Yeah, I am. I'm crying right now. This is what this man does to me." So, no, I mean, awesome last day of the 26 regular season. Probably gets topped, honestly, for the last day of the entire 26 season. And I can't wait to break that down with you, because that's another one where you remember exactly where you were.
Yeah, I remember just about everything from that day, everything that I was feeling. I can safely say that I have rewatched this game that we're going to be getting to more times than any sporting event in my life. I cannot wait to rewatch it again. I am positive that I will cry. And I don't think that my fiance would be nearly as kind about me crying as your wife was with you. So I won't be watching this game with Maria.
That's fair.
I've made her watch it with me one time before. I've made her watch the Believeland documentary with me, which also makes me cry. She did not have that kind of response. So
Yeah.
I'll be watching that one. I'll seclude myself and make sure that that's a solo rewatch.
Yeah, and if you need, like, if you want to call, like, I'll help you out. I'll help you through it. I was just there last week, so yeah.
Appreciate you, brother.
You got it.
All right, well, thanks for joining us around the campfire, Vin. We're 16 episodes down, I believe, 17.
Yes, sir.
Can't believe we're this deep into our journey through the last 25 years of basketball. But I've been having a riot, and we're in for a good one next week.
Yes, sir. Stay warm, my man.